In case you missed our review recently, we absolutely loved the new Resident Evil 2. It's no surprise really, we're big fans of the classic Resident Evil games, and this reimagining of one of the best loved titles from the franchise has clearly been made with those fans in mind. So we've played it and finished it at least 4 times over. That's not exactly unusual. This is a game that's been made to reward those who dig a little deeper with secrets, Easter eggs and callbacks to the richly layered history of the series. So with that in mind and green herbs at the ready, here are 8 biohazardous secrets we found in the Resident Evil 2 remake. Be warned, spoilers for the game to follow, much like a certain Mr. X. One of the first little nods to Resident Evil lore comes right at the very beginning of the game, and it's easy to miss. Herbs have been a staple of any Raccoon City survivor's inventory from the very beginning. They may not be the most obvious healing item at first glance, but grinding these plants into a fine powder and then mixing them to cure whatever ails you is something every RE fan knows how to do. Green herbs give you back some health, blue herbs cure poison, and red herbs are useless on their own but boost the properties of other herbs. There's also been yellow herbs which can improve your maximum health or generally heal more than green, and purple herbs, though neither of these appear in the Resident Evil 2 remake. So in the gas station at the beginning of RE2, you can spot a freezer advertising herb ice cream, with the rather on-the-nose tagline, "Herbs heal you." Although the premise might sound a little odd, using herbs in food is actually in keeping with established Raccoon City lore. In Resident Evil Outbreak, you could find a recipe for herb pie. With the note, balanced nutrition and a clean bill of health are yours with these easy-to-make pies. Sadly, there wasn't much time to grab some frozen treats this time around. We were just a little preoccupied with the other clientele.
It's like a nightmare.
Resident Evil fans are of course familiar with the RPD's Elite Special Forces Team STARS, or the Special Tactics and Rescue Service. Over the course of the first game, players got to meet most of its Alpha Squad as they searched for the missing Bravo team. The Alpha team included Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton and Albert Wesker. Joseph Frost, another Alpha member, was gruesomely killed by a Cerberus, and his death kind of marked the beginning of the whole Resident Evil franchise. And then there's one more STARS Alpha team member, Brad Chickenheart Vickers, their helicopter pilot. Brad was with the Alpha team on the night of the Spencer Mansion incident, but panicked and bravely ran away into the forest when he witnessed the death of Joseph Frost. Vickers eventually came back to help his colleagues, however, from the safety of his chopper, of course. In the original Resident Evil 2, he can be encountered skulking around the police station as a special secret zombie with above average health, though killing him nets you a special key which grants you access to bonus costumes. Resident Evil 3, by the way, fills in the backstory of how Brad wound up at the police station, as he ran away from the Nemesis while trying to warn Jill Valentine of their overly enthusiastic and grabby fan. But anyway, the new Resident Evil 2 pays homage to old Chickenheart if you play a New Game Second Run. You start New Game Second Run in a new location, and obtaining the bolt cutters and heading down a little alleyway will take you to almost the exact same location you'd encounter Zombie Brad in the original RE2. Use the bolt cutters to enter this little side room, where you can kit yourself out with a shiny new firearm and take a look at the wall behind you.
Not exactly how I pictured breaking this in.
There's Brad Vickers himself in his fetching yellow gilet, advertising a job fair and hiring seminar for STARS and the RPD. Not sure he's exactly the poster boy they should be aspiring to, but it's nice to see this callback all the same. Speaking of the Nemesis though, he doesn't make a physical appearance in the new Resident Evil 2, but it's possible the game makes a sly little reference to him all the same. So as you might know, there are multiple monsters with the codename Tyrant in the early Resident Evil games. Several mass-produced T-103 models were deployed by the Umbrella Corporation to Raccoon City when the T-virus hit the fan. One of these was given special orders to retrieve a sample of the G-virus, and that's this guy right here. But before he even arrived at the police station, there was another, even stronger Tyrant on the scene. The Nemesis T-type model was developed as bigger, faster, stronger, and smarter than any other Tyrant at this point, and it was sent to the RPD before the events of Resident Evil 2 with a special mission to find and kill any surviving STARS members. That's why it hunted down Brad Vickers, and that's why it relentlessly chases Jill Valentine in Resident Evil 3. The first half of 3 takes place chronologically before the events of RE2. Now, while exploring the RPD in the new Resident Evil 2, you'll find some destroyed walls up in the shower rooms on 2F. Something rather large and very strong has clearly burst through them. We know that Mr. X likes busting through walls, but this can't have been his doing as he hadn't been dropped into the station by this point. But you know who had? Nemesis. And with that in mind, it's really no surprise where the shower rooms lead, right to the STARS main office. Are you ready for a Resident Evil 3 remake? Because I'm not sure I am. I mean, of course I am, but still. Also, while we're here, here's a sneaky extra Easter egg involving Resident Evil 3 specifically. As you move out of the underground parking lot into Gunshop Kendo and into the sewers as Leon Kennedy, you'll certainly spot the big creepy billboard for Umbrella, but make sure you take a peek across the street. Saying the road's out is clearly a bit of an understatement here, by the way, Ada. Over the road you'll see a sign for Mikhail's Pierogies. Mikhail Victor was a Russian former soldier turned Umbrella mercenary who ended up sacrificing his life to save Jill Valentine in RE3. We hope they have delicious pierogies wherever he is now. And also, that we meet him again in a Resident Evil 3 remake. Make it happen, Capcom. This is a rather subtle Easter egg, and definitely one for only the most detail-oriented fans. When you visited the West office in the original game, you could see that some little party favours were laid out for Leon to celebrate his first day at work in the RPD. There were party hats, paper cups, some drinks, and a little banner stuck to the side of his desk which read, "Welcome Leon." However, on closer inspection, it seems like spelling isn't the RPD officer's strongest suit. Welcome is spelt with 2 L's. Now, in the new Resident Evil 2, Leon's co-workers have gone even bigger on the banner, and at first glance it would appear that it's all spelled correctly. However, take a closer look and you might notice that the spacing between the L and the C seems a little off. Have a peek at the desk below this and, lo and behold, a second L had been added to the sign, but mercifully fell off before anyone could get into trouble for spelling it wrong for a second time. Come on guys, I know you've got bigger priorities and all, but spell check, am I right? In the original Resident Evil 2, particularly diligent players could discover a secret that made Albert Wesker an even more questionable boss than he already was. If you searched his desk in the STARS office no less than 50 times, you would discover a damning roll of film tucked away beneath all the mess. Taking this to the darkroom and getting it developed would result in a photograph labelled simply Recruit, which depicted 18-year-old newly minted STARS member Rebecca Chambers in basketball gear. What this was doing hidden in Wesker's desk is anyone's guess. Anyway, the new Resident Evil 2 pays homage to this, though players don't have to skip through text 50 times in a row this time around. Thank goodness. If you find the film roll in the sewage workroom and take it back to the RPD darkroom, you can develop it to view a couple of photos of a messy desk. Correctly identifying this desk as Wesker's and going there will reward you with a wooden box containing special gun parts from the Kendo gun shop. But once you pick this up and look in the desk drawer again, you'll see another roll of film waiting to be picked up. This film roll, labelled Rising Rookie, can be taken back to the darkroom and developed. And there we go. It's Rebecca Chambers again, in a very similar outfit and pose. 20 years on and Wesker's still super messy and kind of a creep then. I'm glad we hit him with an RPG in a volcano. You might remember us mentioning Joseph Frost, the ill-fated STARS Alpha Team member who met his end right at the beginning of the franchise. In an old tweet, original RE2 director Hideki Kamiya said he suggested the name Joseph after being inspired by Joseph Joestar from the popular Japanese manga and anime JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Funnily enough, the same year the original Resident Evil 2 was released, Capcom also launched an arcade fighting game based on the manga. And as a little crossover to celebrate that fact, the name JoJo was written on a locker in the main office. It's just above Marvin Branna's head when you tend to him as he lies on the floor. Now, 20 years later, there's an Easter egg of that Easter egg in the new game. Check out the lockers in the West office and you'll see the name JoJo right there in the exact same font. It's such a weird little callback for so many reasons, but it's a testament to the incredible level of detail and love that went into making this version of the RPD station feel like a true spiritual successor to the original. Resident Evil is obviously Capcom's most famous franchise about undead viral outbreaks, but it isn't the company's only one. Dead Rising, an open-world survival horror beat-em-up, released by Capcom in 2002, starred photojournalist Frank West as he attempts to survive for 3 days in the Willamette Parkview Mall in the midst of a zombie outbreak. A lovely little Easter egg in that game was a store called Jill's Sandwiches, an obvious reference to one of the most iconic lines from the original Resident Evil.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
Now it seems, all these years later, Resident Evil is giving Dead Rising a little shout out in return. In the midst of all the panic at the beginning of the new Resident Evil 2, you can spot a flyer for Frank's freelancing photography skills. It's plastered around a few spots in the streets at the very beginning of the game, but it's most visible behind this lady, who is just too busy staring off into the distance to be bothered by your gunshots. Another little reference in some of these posters, you can spy some advertising a locksmith for hire. But why would we ever need one of those when we can count the master of unlocking herself as one of our own? Finally, all the way back in August 2015, after years of lobbying by fans and tons of speculation, Resident Evil producer Yoshiaki Hirabayashi, aka Producer H, uploaded a video to the official Resident Evil YouTube channel. It was only a minute and a half long, but in it, the very excited Hirabayashi pulls off his shirt to reveal some big news. Capcom had greenlit a Resident Evil 2 remake, and so that meant, according to the development team, we do it!
We do it! やりますよ.
This amazingly to-the-point announcement went down in the history books. It was a big moment for Capcom and for fans, and so it's been commemorated in the final game. If you head to the reception area just off the main hall, you'll see a bust of a Raccoon City police officer welcoming visitors to the station. The bust is inscribed, "In honor of those who have served." But there's some text underneath dedicated to the everyday heroes who valiantly protect the city. Underneath all that, right at the very bottom, there's the Raccoon City Police Department motto. You guessed it, we do it. An adorable nod to how far the game has come, and no doubt a little acknowledgement of the development team who worked on it. And yes, I've mentioned it before, but I'm gonna do it again. Here's hoping they do it for Resident Evil 3 next. Right? There are almost certainly a few Resident Evil secrets and Easter eggs we've missed in the new Resident Evil 2, so let us know of any you've spotted in the comments below.
That's not good.
Are you as excited about a potential Resident Evil 3 remake as we are? While you wait, you can check out one of our many other RE videos, which should be on screen now. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, ring that bell icon below for more videos from Eurogamer, but keep an eye out for any stray T103s drawn to your location. We'll send a chopper for extraction, and see you next time. Bye!